now read 103 books in 2019, that is. Back during the whole set your Goodreads challenge time of year last year, I set it for 50. And somehow I managed to hit 50 on July 28th. I made a post and I said, what if I tried to get to 100 by the end of the year? And I got to 100 last week when I finished the audiobook for In an Absent Dream by Shauna McGuire. So I'm super excited about this. I've only ever read like 55 books in 1 year since doing challenges, which was I think 2 years ago. And that was a little bit of cheating because I was rereading some kids' books at like Christmas time to hit that. But somehow through binging audiobooks and reading a lot of shorter books this fall and winter to try to, or like beginning of winter to try to hit that 100 through, I don't even know, somehow I did it and it wasn't that hard. So I thought I would talk a little bit about the books that I read after Indigathon. And yeah, I'm going to keep going to try to see how much above 100 I can get. It's currently December 22nd, and I would like to try to get to like 100 like full-length first-time reads. I did a couple rereads this year, as well as like multiple book. I read 2 books twice this year. I read The Weight of the Stars by Kate Ancrum twice, and then Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, once like print and then once on audio. So I would like to try to get up to like 100 without picture books, without the rereads. But I don't know if I'll get around to like calculating how many that really is. So during November, I started to reread The Raven Boys to prepare to get to Called on the Hawk. And I was tabbing it up and annotating it, so that was really fun. It's awesome because like it's my favorite series, but I haven't reread it, which is kind of crazy. But it's just, I love rereading it, knowing who the characters are now and knowing all the things that I know from finishing the series, to just see the foreshadowing and just, yeah, it was awesome. And then I also reread The Dream Thieves, which, it's such a study in gay repression, and I did not notice that as much when I first read it, and I'm just here for Ronan Lynch, and yeah, I can't wait for Called on the Hawk. But I really want to get to Blue Lily Lily Blue and The Raven King before I reread that one, or before I read that one, so I'm gonna have to wait a little bit more. And then I kind of randomly picked up the audiobook for Real Queer America, LGBT Stories from Red States by Samantha Ellen, because I have been watching a lot of Cece from Problems of a Book Nerd. I've been watching a lot of her videos, and she was talking a lot about that one. So I listened to that a bit when I was taking a walk and while I was just doing things. And I enjoyed it. It was very hopeful, very moving, but there was also too many statistics and like political analysis for me to like fully enjoy it. And then I read Spinning by Tilly Walden. I had been intending to participate in Boston Reads Books Read Your Gaze Holidays Edition readathon, but that was during my like finals week crunch time, so I only really managed to read a coming out story, which was Spinning, and that was lovely. It's about her, it's like an autobiography of Tilly's time as a figure skater in high school and middle school. And then I finally finished Dark Age by Pierce Brown. I started that in August, so testament to the absolute monstrosity that it is. It's like over 700 pages, but oh boy, he is an evil genius. That was amazing and confusing and intense and dark and full of just a lot of shit. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that was harkening back to the original Red Rising series, which was really nice. And then there was a lot of political intrigue and battles that I was just a little bit like, excuse me, what's happening now? But I really loved seeing a lot of the characters grow and interact, and yeah, definitely enjoyed it more than Iron Gold. And then after that, I wanted to get to some more short books, and I was like, I want to listen to an audiobook today. What am I going to do? And I decided to finish the Wayward Children series by Shauna McGuire. I read Every Heart a Doorway, about Eleanor West's home for wayward children who have stumbled back into Earth from parallel worlds and are struggling to kind of adjust, and they just want to go back home because that's what those worlds were to them. And then it turned into a murder mystery, and it's beautiful, and I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to when I first read it, because it just felt like kind of rushed and didn't expect the murder mystery, which is weird because like I love murder mysteries, and I read it in October, but it just stuck with me so much, and Nancy and Cade, the two of the main characters, I just kept thinking about them, and so I kind of in hindsight loved that book more than I did to start with. And so I read the sequels in like each audiobook is about 5 hours, and I listened to them all within like each 2 days. So there was Down Among the Sticks and Bones, Beneath the Sugar Sky, and In an Absent Dream. Those were all amazing. So in between listening to all of those audiobooks, I also read Are You Listening by Tilly Walden, which was a magical realism comic, which I haven't ever read, I don't think. Gorgeous. And there was a cat and an awesome relationship that I expected it was going to be a romance, but it wasn't. It was just this older girl who was about like 27, kind of mentoring a 18-year-old. There was a lot about running from things and finding yourself, and yeah, it was lovely. Then I also read the 4th volume of the Eye of the World graphic novel, comic version of the first book in Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series, and that is by Chuck Dixon and some other people. So then after that, I finished In an Absent Dream, and that was when I hit 100. And I meant to update, but you know, December reading vlog didn't really happen. So then the last 3 that got me to 103 were The Black Tides of Heaven and The Red Threads of Fortune by J.Y. Young, which were short little audiobooks that I had been looking forward to for a while, because I had heard that they had some genderqueer characters in them. I was a little bit disappointed just because the plots I wasn't super interested in, and they left me a little confused. But the silk punk world, the Asian-inspired setting with magic that reminded me a bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but all grown up. The completely lacking in misogyny. The kids in the stories they're born genderless, and then eventually they choose male or female, and then kind of get confirmed in that. But there is a character in The Red Threads of Fortune who is gender nonconforming and uses they them pronouns, which the author is as well. But yeah, I mean, I loved the world and I enjoyed the characters. The plots were just a little bit like, wait, what? Which was fine. And then 102 was this beauty. This is a sci-fi time travel, enemies to lovers, epistolary novel, but it's none of those things. It is, but this book is, it just fucking blows your mind. The poetry, the system of technology, of magic. I mean, it's science, but it feels like magic, and it's letters as berries and as geese and breath and blood and feathers and ash and things you digest and imprint on your brain cells, and women who shapeshift and fall in love throughout centuries and eons, and time is a braid, and you can experience thousands of realities and thousands of histories. And I knew I was going to love this, and I didn't really know what to expect other than that it was poetic and sapphic, and it was amazing. You're there, you're in their heads, you're in their letters to each other, these two agents of the garden and the agency. They war not by battle, but by going and changing time and changing how the course of things go, and then reweaving things, and it's very difficult to explain. I'm I'm trying my best. But yeah, I was so glad that I got a chance to read this before the year was over. So then I'm just gonna quickly talk about some things I'd like to hit before the decade is over. So we've got We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. I wanted to read this also because it's short, and Boston Reads Books was talking about it being kind of Christmassy. And then I have picked up this, Snow and Rose, while I was at my library when I got Spinning and Are You Listening and Time War. And it's a middle grade book, a retelling of Snow White and Rose Red, and it's got a lot of really pretty illustrations. I'm not really sure, honestly, if I'm going to get through this, because I have a couple of other priorities, but I thought that it would help me get back in the mood to finish Blanca y Roja, which I started in summer and just set aside because I was so busy. I couldn't really focus on the writing because I was reading it in such short time, like short spurts of time, that I couldn't keep track of really what was happening. I love Anna Marie McLemore's writing. They are so skilled at prose, and yet it needs time and focus to understand fully and to appreciate fully. So Blanca y Roja is a retelling of Snow White and Rose Red as well, so that's why it would get me in the mood for that. And then I have On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, I think. This is a very literary seeming book. I know it's about being Vietnamese American. I know it's semi-autobiographical. It's a bit about Connecticut. It's gay and it's very intense. That's pretty much all I know. My cousin was very highly recommending it to me, and I've heard some other good things on BookTube. So I would really like to get to this. There is a strange noise. Nobody's supposed to be home. What's happening? Well, I guess it was the washing machine. It sounded like someone was shoveling snow on the back porch, but yeah, I don't know. Hot water pipes. Anyways, I'm just sitting here waiting for some sweet potatoes to boil for a lentil shepherd's pie thing and eating some cookies. And I'm just popping in to say that I did start Snow and Rose. I read We Are Okay over the course of like a night and a morning the other day after I filmed the other thing, and it was really good. It was very, very emotional for me, and I was like, I want something a little fluffier instead of diving right into On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. So I just picked this up, and I'm so happy because there is a boy who is a mushroom farmer. The aesthetic of this book is like everything that I loved as a kid, or like makes me feel like a callback to my childhood. And the art style is very like folksy. I don't know, there. And kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, like a little Beatrix Potter cottage. Mince pies and mushrooms and a little strawberry garden in the front. And it's just so cute. And yeah, I just wanted to pop in and say that I'm really happy that I started this because mushroom farmer. Seriously, I love mushroom aesthetics. So I happen to have made mushroom cookies earlier today too. So like, what do you know? Again, not my own house, different house, same shirt. It's New Year's Eve, coming in to say, wobbly camera, that I finished Snow and Rose, and I loved it. I want to do a discussion of that and Blanca y Roja and the original fairy tale. So be on the lookout for that. Blanca y Roja, I switched to audiobook, helped immensely, and I have like 40 minutes left. Wonderful narrators, so that's been good. What else I did? I read Strange Planet comics. I've got that for Christmas and had the most wonderful time reading them with family. That got me to 105. I had planned to finish reading my anthropology textbook from last winter's semester of college because there was one chapter that we didn't read, and I started reading because it was really interesting, and then I just forgot about it. But I think that at this point I can just say I read the book, and I think that's fine. Yeah, it's a very big book. So I read like 90% of it. And then I have to finish Whereas by Layli Long Soldier, which was part of Indigathon. And then I will probably be at 108 and finish off the decade strong.